Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my next bump date, and this is a little bit later than I thought. I thought we would do a 28-week bump date and kind of share what was going on in those mid-20s. But right at 28 weeks we got hit with some really hard news, which made us kind of take a big break from everything. So baby girl got diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. And I'm gonna do a whole video designated to explaining what that defect is. Shockingly to everybody, it is the exact same diagnosis that my husband has. It's called AV canal, or endocardial cushion defect, or atrial septal defect. It has many names, and she also has, most likely, a coarc. They can't diagnose that until after the baby is born, but it's looking that way. So the last 3 weeks have been really difficult, and a lot of grieving and a lot of coping for myself, my husband, our family. But it's been a few weeks, and I have to say right now, at least currently, I'm in a better state. And so I don't want to miss out on celebrating and enjoying this pregnancy. I want to focus on the happy and the positive and remember this pregnancy. So I wanted to sit down and adamantly do this bump date. So today's bump date, I'm going to be talking about everything from 25 weeks to 30 weeks. So at 25 weeks, we were actually on a baby moon. We got to get away for just a little bit, my husband and I, and it was just really nice to settle down, to really have time to just talk to each other. And let's be honest, it's just a really good excuse to go on a vacation. But we are big proponents of date night, and we aren't always the best about actually doing date night. So the fact that we got to go away on a vacation together was huge. I think the last time we did that was before the kids were born. So that was huge for us. We really enjoyed it. But I definitely noticed some symptoms on that trip. So first I noticed some more stretch marks. I had already gotten some stretch marks on my chest because I have never, you know, but I started noticing that I was getting stretch marks on my hips, which I'm not surprised. My belly has grown, but my hips and my thighs and my butt and all of that has just grown per my genetics. And so the stretch marks came in hot right around 25 weeks. So this is right when my heartburn came back, and it came back pretty strong. So I found the most amazing natural option to get rid of heartburn has been almond milk. It is amazing, and avoiding the foods that are triggers. For me, triggers are dairy, tomatoes, probably onions and garlic, they say. I'm just trying to avoid those recently, and citrus. But the heartburn was so bad that I really resorted to Tums, and I started taking Tums a lot more. My midwife was fine with taking Tums, but at the 28-week appointment, she did say, well, you don't want to take too much. And so I wanted to try to start backing off. So that's when I got really strict with my diet around 28 weeks, and heartburn, I do have to say, now is under control. But I do have an ample amount of almond milk in my fridge. So for those of you who remember early on in pregnancy, I really had to ramp up taking magnesium to help me be able to go to the bathroom. I am back on more magnesium. I had a good period of time where it was just great and wonderful, and now I am back on taking a lot more magnesium. And then on our baby moon, I noticed that I was just getting this pain. Early on in pregnancy, I had a pain in my rib in the front, and that went away. I noticed I had a pain, like pretty much probably the same rib, but it was in my back, and it was really uncomfortable, really bothering me. And the prenatal massage I got on the baby moon, even though I think that massage really stirred up a bunch of stuff in me and I did not feel good the rest of the day, the pain went away. So I feel like sometimes just maybe a chiropractor adjustment or a massage can really help with some of these aches and pains. And then at 25 weeks, the movement started feeling like, this is what I really want to remember, is like, what did it feel like for baby to be inside me? And it felt almost like spasms that you couldn't control. Like when you kind of have like a flex of a muscle, like a flex of your abs maybe, but you can't control it. All of a sudden you're like, oh, like that's kind of what it was feeling like right around 25 weeks. And then my favorite symptom that I have heard a lot of responses about of, yes, we can all work on Kegel exercises, and yes, we can do our best, but when I cough and when I sneeze, I will wet my pants a lot more. And I was sick recently, I'll get to that when we get further down in the weeks, but I was recently sick and I would cough a lot. And one day, I swear, I went through so many underwear because I just could not believe how much I was wetting my pants. Yes, I am admitting it on the internet for all to know. I wet my pants when I coughed and sneezed. So a couple tricks is making sure that you are flexed before the cough or before the sneeze comes. It only happened to me when I couldn't tighten up before coughing or sneezing, or crossing your legs or holding yourself, but sometimes it just doesn't work out and it just happens. And thank goodness I have so many friends that have gone through pregnancy before I have, and they have all shared that, yes, very common, wait till the end. And they all warned me, wait till after birth. So as a NICU nurse, I kind of wanted to add what I have seen in the hospital as babies have grown from 24 weeks all the way up till term, and kind of describe the difference just because I know what was going on. So around 25 weeks when we were on our baby moon, baby's skin was getting less transparent. When I would have a 24-week patient, you could really see through their skin. It was a lot more gelatin-like. It's almost like a jelly. It doesn't, people describe it as jelly, but that's not. It's more just so transparent and so delicate. You can see every vein. At 25 weeks, it's starting to get a little bit tougher and not quite as transparent. And the big difference is when you would have a 25-weeker, you knew that they were older. I know it sounds young, but at 25 weeks in the NICU, you think they're older because their eyes would be open. The eyelids would no longer be fused. And so on the baby moon, I was thinking, oh, you can open your eyes and you're doing some blinking right now. Okay, so moving on to 26 weeks. So I hadn't had my echo yet, so I didn't know exactly how big baby was, but I knew relatively we were about 2 pounds by this point. And on the scale, I had only gained a couple of pounds since I was 16 weeks. So in 10 weeks, I only gained a couple of pounds. But I want to remind you, for any of you who have not seen our vlog or some of the previous bump dates, is that I gained 30 pounds by 16 weeks. And that's a lot. And a lot of it might have had to do with the meds I was on for fertility and the prednisone, which is a steroid. So I definitely already had a lot of weight. Plus, a lot of you reached out to me and said that your weight gain was not linear, that it kind of was a lot in the beginning, kind of flattened out second trimester, and then ramped up at the end. So I think that might be what my body's doing, is gained a lot, kind of slowed down, and then ramped up. Will be ramping up now that we are 30 weeks. So the other symptom I was noticing was that my heels were just hurting, and especially my right heel, like right in the middle of the heel of my foot. I think just the weight and the changes in my body, my feet have just been having a rude awakening that this is what it's carrying. So I think my feet are kind of going through something, but it's my excuse of saying, hey Philip, will you give me a foot massage? So I definitely will take him up on any time he's willing to give me a foot massage. But the other joint that was kind of having a hard time before was that pregnancy carpal tunnel we talked about. And I was waking up where my fingers kind of felt tingly, not my pinkies, but the other ones, which is indicative of pregnancy carpal tunnel. After I had that prenatal massage, and I did tell her, like, can we work on circulation to help with that? I'm not kidding. It has gone away. Like, my hands might feel a little puffy right now, but none of that pregnancy carpal tunnel is here anymore. And everyone told me that it's going to last until you deliver. So I don't know. I don't know if it was the massage or magnesium, I think I heard, actually does help. And I started taking some more of that. I'm not sure. Do your research on what can help pregnancy carpal tunnel. I never did the braces because I procrastinated, but it's better. So that's amazing and that's wonderful. I'm thankful for every ache and pain that I do get to experience, because praise Jesus that I get to experience pregnancy, but it's also nice when some of the uncomfortable ones go away. And then, like everyone talks about with pregnancy, is just hair growth. I do feel like my hair has come in thicker in the shower. I used to get globs of hair that came out. My hair is just super thin and just is not strong. Out of anybody, I think my hair just really needs some major TLC. But pregnancy is one of those where you don't really lose your hair, which is amazing. So I do feel like it's a little bit fuller. I am nervous for postpartum hair loss, but it is what it is. And so we'll just have to see how tiny my ponytail can get, because it's still tiny. I still don't have a ton of hair, but anyways, but I know that my hair is definitely growing, because I am one of those girls in high school that people would come up and say, oh, you shave your arms. And I would say, no, I don't, I really don't. And they wouldn't believe me, just because I really didn't have a lot of hair. But now it's blonde. You can't see it, but I can tell that, oh, my arm hair is getting a little bit longer. Okay, let's move on to 27 weeks. This is where everything kind of halted and became very emotional, and this is when we did our echo. So we went in because my husband is a congenital heart defect baby, so we were going to have an echo anyways. We're an IVF patient, so we would have an echo anyways. And then we had 2 anatomy scans, and they really couldn't get clear pictures of the heart, and so we would have had to go in for an echo anyways. Since our last bump date, I remember I said, please pray that it's not because something's not there, it's just that they didn't get good pictures or baby was sleeping. Well, it wasn't. It was that things were not there. The heart has 4 chambers. For this condition, imagine this centerpiece just doesn't grow out properly to make everything divide the way that it should. So from here, there's a hole in the top, a hole in the bottom, and then across here, there's valves on one side and valves on the other. But for her, we won't know 100% until she's born and get a really good echo, but it looks like she has what's called a common valve. So both sides are all connected. It can look very different. There's many different variations, but they don't have one side, 2 side. It's one big valve. So we were told that at 4 to 6 months, we will need open heart surgery. And I am not crying because I have cried so much, and it has been so emotional. I am over the grief of this isn't fair. Why me? Why does this have to happen? The anger, all the feels. I felt all the feels. And I am in a spot now where we kind of moved on to logical for a little bit of logistics of how are we going to have this happen? Who do we need here to help us? How are we going to have insurance that covers the best that we can? What is it going to look like? And so we did a lot of the logic, and now I'm in a phase where I know the grief, I know the logic is being taken care of a lot by my husband, which is amazing, and now I'm in the phase of let us try to just focus on enjoying this pregnancy. And right now she is safe inside of me. She doesn't need to use her heart like she is on the outside. She doesn't need to use her lungs like she does on the outside. So we're just going to enjoy this pregnancy, and that is where I'm trying to focus. I am also in a little bit of denial that's helpful, where I am saying it's going to be surgery, and then after that there's going to be nothing, and we're going to be perfect after surgery, and we won't have to worry about any side effects of having a congenital heart defect. Well, I'm married to one, and I know that that's not true. Yes, medicine is very different than 32 years ago. I'm very confident. I feel like the repair is going to be much better now than it would have been 32 years ago when my husband had it done. But for me to cope with what we are about to face, I am just trying to think that this is going to be a really tough year, and then we're going to be past it. That's kind of how I'm coping with the fact of everything we're about to face. We're going to face it one day at a time and get through this year and see how she does, and just pray that she's just going to be perfectly healed, stitched, put back together in the most amazing way that she's just gonna have a beautiful story to share. So on top of that, we also found out about the coarc, which is the big tube that goes off of your heart that pumps blood to the body. When it's pinched in a spot, it's called a coarc. That we're not going to be able to diagnose 100% until after birth, but it's pretty clear that she does have it and will need surgery to fix it. That will be done her first week of life. That one is going to be really hard. She's going to have to learn how to eat afterwards. After delivery is going to be a rough season, and so I am just already thankful for the love, prayers, and support from you guys during that season for us, just because I know it is going to be rough. But I know that she's a fighter and we're going to get through it. And that's where we're at. So at 27 weeks, I will explain this more as we go along, but at 27 weeks is when we got the first echo. The following week, maybe I was right at 28 weeks, we had a follow-up echo with the cardiologist and it was all confirmed. So what else can I talk about that moves on from congenital heart defect? Let's talk about the glucose tolerance test. At 27 weeks, I went in and had my 1 hour glucose test and I failed. It was 16 hours after we had found out the news about baby girl, and I had been crying for pretty much 16 hours straight. I kid you not, I was just hysterical, sobbing just for 16 hours. So I told them, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fail this glucose test, and they said, oh no, just long-term stress is more what's gonna affect your glucose, not necessarily an instant. And I told them, I don't think you realize how stressed out I am right now, but we did the test anyways, and it came back 157, and normal would be 140 or below. So I failed my 1 hour. I could potentially have gestational diabetes, absolutely, but I do think a lot of it had to do with stress, so we'll just have to wait and see. Today, I am 30 weeks and I went in for my 3 hour glucose. But why in the world did it wait from 27 weeks until 30 weeks to get tested? Let me tell you what happened at 28 weeks. So I literally turned 28 weeks the day we moved into this house. The first night we moved into this house, I turned from 27 to 28 weeks. If you have not seen it, you can go over to our vlog channel. I'll link it down in the description of we bought a house, and we have been traveling full time in our RV for 9 months. And it just got placed on our hearts back in January that we should just have a home base and then we can travel out from there. That was before we found out about baby girl. And I am just so thankful that we listened and we decided to get a home base because it looks like we are really going to be buckling down at a home base for quite some time. I was very confident that I could have a newborn traveling in an RV. That was not my concern. Having a medically fragile baby, I am very thankful to be in this home and to make a comfortable space for all of us and to just get ready for what's coming. So right at 28 weeks, I got sick. I was down for the count probably for 3 days. I was just in bed. From there, my husband was down for the count for probably 36 hours. And then my girls, right after that, it started with Callie and then Kinsley, and everyone kind of went in order. And I was down for probably 3 days. Everybody else was down for about 36 hours, but the lingering sickness after that just has lasted. I know this season of the world is very strange, and I have gotten so many questions, so I'm just going to answer them because I don't want you guys to leave a million of these questions. Could it have been the coronavirus? We kept getting better every day, and in our area at that time they did not have tests available. We called, and so we just kept getting better, and we also did not want to use up a test on us when they were saying in other states that they weren't not giving tests to people that were young and getting better. They were saving it for the elderly or people that were high risk. Being pregnant, I was nervous that I would be high risk. That is this flu-like thing gonna go away? I'm pretty sure it was just the flu. So I'm thankful that we kept getting better, but we self-quarantined ourselves for 2 weeks. So we ordered our groceries that were delivered to our door, and we just buckled down in our new home. Thank goodness we were in our home for a couple of weeks. So because of that, and also because we heard about baby girl, my top priority is to get her to big and full term, big and fat and juicy and chunky and just healthy to take on what she's gonna have to go through once she's born. I did not want to go into preterm labor. And I know they say you can fly. I just have seen in the NICU that people would be out to California on vacation and then they would go into preterm labor and come into our NICU. So I just didn't want to risk anything for baby to come early. We ended up canceling our flights and we decided we were not going to fly back to California. And this is before the lockdown kind of happened where everyone was encouraged to stay home. Traveling was still an option. We just decided not to, and I'm just very glad that we did not travel. It was a bummer that we did not get to do a baby shower. And it's been 7 years of infertility. Imagining celebrating with friends. Even though we traveled and moved across the country, I still thought we would fly back and have a baby shower and celebrate together, and pictures with my friends and their hands on my belly. But that didn't happen. But I think this season of life in the world, there's a lot of disappointments. I've heard of people having to postpone weddings. So what I'm doing right now is just trying to focus on what I'm thankful for. I mean, not having a baby shower it was really sad for me, but it's so minute in the grand scheme of things. And now we have been spending the last couple days trying to make this house a home, because we have been living on blow-up beds and on the floor for quite some time, some picnic tables, and so now we are ready to transform this to our home and get ready for baby. So today I went in for my 3-hour glucose tolerance test, but because it was 27 till 30 weeks until I could get tested because I was sick, long story short, that was why there was that big window. They had me checking my blood sugar 3 times a day. 1 time fasting and 2 times 2 hours after meals. And so I was really able to track and see how my body responded to different meals, different foods, and it looked pretty good most of the time. If I do get diagnosed with gestational diabetes and the results come back that I am out of range, I am very confident that I can control it with diet, just because I've been able to watch how I've been eating over the last week and how my sugar has been responding. And so I will let you know, and we will just have to wait and see if that's one more thing to add onto the list. Oh, I'm gonna save the best for last. Oh, I need to go get it. Okay, saving the best for last. Movement of what I felt over the last few weeks is I'm able to see baby moving from the outside. So I've been trying to capture some videos, but I think she's smart and a little camera shy, so she doesn't always move when I turn on the camera, but the moment I turn it off, she might move. But it's really fun to be able to see baby move. I do feel like I'm starting to feel more like if she flips or if she does kind of bigger movements, and I'm excited to feel more of when she's really big and making some big elbow across or some foot across. I think that'll be fun to be able to feel like, oh, this is her head, this is her foot, and kind of get a little bit more familiar with what I'm feeling. But I'm loving it. I'm loving getting the chance to bond with her before I get to see her face. But I did get to see her face. So I was not planning on doing a 3D ultrasound, but when they were doing the echo, they wanted to do a little bit of 3D to look at something, so they ended up scanning up to her face as well. And so I got some printouts of baby's face. The first one, when I look at it, it looks so much like my husband's sister, in my opinion. And it could just be, I don't know. I feel like she has my husband's lips and nose, but then I look at the bottom one, and then I don't know what she looks like, but we'll just have to wait and see. She's gonna be here, and who she is developing right now. Everything is not about her heart. It's about her and her life and who she's gonna be. The heart is just a hurdle, and we all have hurdles. Some of us do have medical hurdles. Some of us have emotional, spiritual, financial. We all have hurdles. This just is hers. That's right off the bat. So yes, I do have to say I am in a much better spot than I was a couple weeks ago, which feels great. We have some beautiful hands and profiles. I'm thankful for the ultrasounds, and I'm excited to look at her and see her face. Thank you guys so much for watching today's bump date. If you like watching the bump dates, give today's video a big, huge thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can hit that subscribe button and join our family here. If you're looking for a place of encouragement and positivity, that is here. That is over on our vlog channel. We welcome you. We are thankful for you. And going on this journey with you is just the best. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.